13 Questions by Man Transcending. Manhood in the Digital Age.
So welcome back to another episode of 13 Questions. This time we are joined by Joel Cochran. Joel was referred to us by our friend Mark England, who is a past guest. Definitely go check out that episode. There will be many more guests to come from Mark, so that's super exciting. And yeah, dude, what did you think? Like that was just I had my mind blown a few times, especially before. I'm going to mention this now because we didn't record it, but before we started doing the interview questions, I asked him, just small talk before the episode, and I asked him if he had a busy day or whatever, and he broke down the word busy. As you know, I'm a fan of words and wordplay, word magic, etymology, etc. But he made a little anagram for busy, B-U-S-Y, buried under Satan's yoke. I thought that was really a clever word magic trick, so I wrote it down and wanted to share it because we didn't get that in the interview.
Are you saying that the devil is in the details?
It is. She is. He is. Hasatan is C. But yeah. So yeah, Mark England referral. He sent us a bunch of names and emails after we interviewed him. I reached out to every one of them and said that we would get them on the show if they said yes. So this is what we're going to be doing as long as we keep getting yeses. And yeah, I'll be looking forward to many more of these conversations because I think, we just covered a lot of useful tips and different ways, different perspectives of looking at things, right? So
yeah, he's you can definitely tell that he is a life coach. And so, yeah, he definitely brings a lot of useful tools from his tool belt to the table. So it was very, like I said, it was a joyful conversation.
I was just going to say, like, you touched on joy, and that leads us into like gratitude. And we have a whole segment just for gratitude because it is so important. Did we even have a jingle for it? Let's do that.
Gratitude, 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 oh, gratitude. Gratitude, 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 oh, gratitude.
Towards the end, during the interview, we talk about my gratitude, so I'm going to fully explain it here. So it'll be kind of like a time warp when you listen. But anyhow, it is after, what is it, Memorial Day weekend. We just came out the other side of Memorial Day weekend, and I spent some extra time outside doing yard work and ended up throwing a rib out of my back, which was not the most pleasant thing to do, but I had to wait until Tuesday to go to the chiropractor when they're back open. Everything's open again after the holiday, right? So I spent at least 2 days, 2 nights with a thrown rib. But yeah, so I'm super grateful for chiropractors, and especially for having reestablished care after moving. I have to credit my fiance for encouraging me to find a chiropractor upon moving, because this is twice now that I've utilized him, in this capacity. So yeah, a big hurrah for chiropractors and back pain relief.
Yeah, those popped ribs are never fun. You do not appreciate a rib until it is not functioning how it is supposed to.
It hurts to breathe. It hurts to cough. Like, you can't really sleep very well if you're a side sleeper, which I am. It's just not fun. And I think it happened I was either digging up a stump and pulled something too hard, or pushing a lawnmower up a kind of a steep hill in my backyard here is where I'm going to say the injury occurred. But I didn't dig stumps at the same day I had mowed the lawn. So everything just blurred together when you're in pain, right? So, yeah, just chiro. That's an interesting word.
That's
too,
right.
chiro.
Incredible to have people that can interface with the human body in such a way that through using their touch and movement can bring you back and reduce your pain. It's an amazing, cool little tool.
And ice. Ice helps too, especially after an adjustment. But what did you have?
All
for
right.
your-
My gratitude is... This is touching on something we've talked about before. And it has to do kind of with one of our affiliates, the cacao, ceremonial cacao. And, I talked in my gratitude about how I thought it was, beautiful that you have this very ceremonial, very pure thing that when you put intention and you infuse, things within that you get this incredibly powerful thing filled with micronutrients that can give you, feeling and experience that are unique to the cacao, to the chocolate. And that, there's this magical substance that is all around us in the stores that's still there, that is how powerful certain substances can be, that even in their diluted, misused forms, they're still of great attractiveness to us. And, so I kind of put, the big manufacturers under that, like it's still how people are interfacing, with these things. And lo and behold, I go to the store and something I've never seen before, 100% cacao chocolate. And I was absolutely blown away. Major manufacturer. So yeah, to me, it was, I don't know, it was one of those beautiful little intrusions of magic that now there's this substance that, while without the same care, that, people are still going to be able to get a diluted magical experience. And it's there on a shelf. It's there on a shelf to experience. So yeah, I don't know, that's exciting to me that these magical substances can still permeate their way back into the world, even in a world of M&Ms.
That is okay. So 100%. That is kind of odd in the fact that I've looked for, cacao bars before in health food stores.
It's really hard to find.
See it. You just don't. And what name does this manufacturer rhyme with? Is it? I don't know.
Mint.
Mint.
Mint. MINDT. Like a breath mint.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting. Well, you shouldn't buy it from them. You should totally get it from Aura Cacao, which is owned and operated by Jonas Ketterly, who we've had on a guest or a past guest before on the show.
And by the way, I do triple that. The mushroom cacao especially has an energetic kick to it that is, it's an experience. It's an experience. It's way better than the just regular pure coca. And I'm a huge believer in intention and care, and all those things actually making its way in and having and changing the experience. So to me, there's there's benefit way beyond just the ingredient list. But yeah, go check it out. The mushroom is amazing.
I'm still making my way through. I got the flavor with turmeric and ashwagandha.
Oh,
in it.
no, those are really good too. That's my second favorite one and that's actually really nice too, because I've done it before. Well, I'll add that to like some black coffee, and it adds a very nice, just like that herby kick, like, that you get that like cardamom type of kick to it. So yeah, it's good.
It's no different for sure. I'm kind of looking forward to. I bought a big bag of it, right? So it's taking me a little bit longer to get through it, but it's dyeing my blender like turmeric color, right?
Yeah, you get that nice little yellow hue.
Right. I'm looking forward to purchasing more, which is a way to support this show, 13 Questions Podcast. If you enjoy what we're doing here and you feel like you want to possibly implement some of the things we've talked about on the show before, definitely check out and support our affiliates. We mentioned Aura Cacao. We have, of course, Derek Condit's Mystical Wares store and Mark Sloan's Red Light Therapy. So definitely head on over to the website, 13questionspodcast.com, to check out all those links. And other ways to support is just sharing the show. Time and talent and treasure are the 3 T's that Adam so graciously reminded me of when I started.
Everything you love. If you love Felix's music for the gratitude jingle, then please, share your love and your gratitude with Felix. If you appreciate what the guest does and you think you could find benefit from him, go over and use his services. It's something we get into in the episode that, a lot of self-motivated things have an ego drive behind them and also have a very positive net benefit for all of us on the receiving, on the giving. So yeah, exercise that ego to water the plants that you love and find beautiful, because if you don't find any beautiful, then you're not going to water any. So
water us. We're thirsty.
Yes.
It is spring. Water the garden. And actually, speaking on that note, I did create another option for listeners to make donations to the show is through Libera Pay. So I'll include that in the link in the show notes. It is an open source organization that facilitates creators being supported by donors, right? I don't know if they have a specific term for them or not, but there's no middleman with them. There's no fees that are taken out beyond what the payment processors take, like PayPal or Stripe, which are now both options to donate. I know we did have the PayPal link on the website before, but Stripe is now an option for 13 Questions. I set that all up today. Hasn't been posted on the website yet, but it'll definitely be in the show notes. So that is just another, if it's easier for to donate that way, I just wanted to make that available, because I know not everybody likes PayPal, and we're diversifying. Just like with our social media platforms, we've got basically an account on every one you could think of. So yeah, head on over to the website.
That's right. Send us your suggestions for guests. Send us any episodes that you've recorded with your friends or family, and questions. If you got an idea for a question, send it in. We may change it out. It might go into the bonus pool of questions, and you can be part of growing this thing, because we're all evolving together, and that includes you and this show. Ready to dive in, Bill?
Absolutely.
All right. This is 13 Questions with Joel Cochran. What was the best advice ever given to you? Would you modify it at all today?
Wow. So many different incredible people that have been in my life that have given me so many different gems. Yet if you asked me the greatest piece of advice, I would say life is your greatest teacher. Go live it. And that rings so true as a life coach, as a human, as a son, as a brother, that we get so caught up in trying to find the answer. What's the answer? This person can tell me. I'll hire that person. What if I study this? What if I get a degree in this? What if I climb to the top level? Yet life is right here, right now. And it will teach you whether you're willing to learn or not. Because right when you think that you got it, life goes, oh really? Here comes death. Here comes cancer. Here comes the girl you didn't think that you'd ever find. Here comes the promotion that you didn't see coming. And if we give ourselves the space to be aware, to be open to life as our teacher, then we will learn. Yet if we want to try to take the reins of life, we're going to find out real quick. We're going to get bucked off.
Who was that particular piece of advice from? Where'd you hear it from? Do you recall?
I do recall. It was from my brother, and it was a little modified in terms of, and we use it still to this day, of life. We'll say it and we'll smile and we'll laugh. Life, right? Oh man, my brother was just talking about the other day. 2 nitro coffees. 2 nitro cold brews. Okay. He didn't know cold brew had more caffeine. Okay. He thought cold brew was just like, oh, you brew the coffee and you put it over ice. And he told me this 3 days ago. And I just shook my head and I was like, okay. Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. Have that cold brew. And each day he was like, man, I feel like I'm on freaking another atmosphere. I'm on another level. I'm shaking my head. I'm like, okay, you could go ahead, man. And then he double dosed it. It was Stumptown cold brew coffee. I don't know if you ever had Stumptown. It's a high octane cold brew where it's somewhere around like 27 or 30 milligrams of caffeine per ounce. So you can get up there real
You basically
quick.
gave your brother an amphetamine-like dose.
It's supposed to be a 1-to-1. You're supposed to pour in 1 ounce of the cold brew to 1 ounce of cold water. He
Right.
just poured the whole thing in.
It's like 1 ounce per pound of body weight.
So needless to say, he got to the end of the night and, he was staring at the ceiling and not being able to go to sleep. His heart's racing. His body temperature is through the freaking roof. So he slept like garbage. Got to wake back up, has 3 kids, right? Straight into it, right? Work this, that. And what do we say? Man, what a beautiful life. That's life. Life is teaching us. And of course, I told him, today, just let you know, you're doing 200 milligrams plus every time you were drinking one of those things. So you're 500 milligrams for the day when he's used to drinking like less than 100 milligrams, like less than 80 milligrams. And it's that reminder that if we can laugh at the devil, he's going to flee every time. We could take life so seriously or so terrible, or we can go, how's life? She broke up with me. Life. Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Doesn't mean you can't be sad. But when we go, man, life, it's so good. Because what I can tell you is that 178,000 people will not be alive tomorrow. Mm-hmm. That's what I can tell you. I can tell you that 120 people in the world die every minute. So we're already over 1,000 people who are dead, have passed away as we've been on this podcast. And that's a very short time. So I get the opportunity to feel pain or to sit and look up at the ceiling because I'm on 500 milligrams of super caffeinated, right, cocaine, coffee cocaine. Yes, I do get that opportunity. And that shifts and changes our perception. When we're able to speak those words, we receive life in a whole different light.
We can only do that by giving ourselves the space to, right? Like you said, it's super important. It's super synchronistic that you brought up the whole coffee thing. I was having this conversation this morning actually with my fiance about coffee. Like, do you want to drink coffee this morning? And because we were both kind of struggling throughout the winter with sleep because we continue to drink coffee. Well, it's cold in Michigan. We don't go out and do stuff and
Yeah.
drink so much. And so when you're not exercising, but your coffee intake is still the same, your sleep goes down. So anyway, I don't know. It was just kind of a little synchro, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, definitely give yourself the space, and that's where the learning happens, like you were saying.
Got to have the space. No one's special. We all have 24 hours in a day. We all have 24 hours. It's how you choose to spend it.
And you could even be productive if you can't sleep and you're up on coffee. You get up and read a book or something. That's what.
Yeah, totally. Or you get the opportunity to feel your heartbeat
Yeah.
at 150 beats per minute laying in bed.
Sometimes I've used those moments to sit there and think about, do some self-reflection and like introspection and like what's really bothering me, what bothers me about this or that, and then just keep asking the why question and then keep
Mhm.
back and back and back. It's fun sometimes.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
What do you willfully ignore?
What do I willfully ignore? Yeah, the word that keeps coming up is negativity. Negativity or the victim type of mentality and mindset. I just let it slide. Right? I wake up every single morning and I go, as soon as my eyes open up, I put two hands in the air. Just like this. You guys can't see it because it's a podcast, but my two hands are in the air. And I go, yes. And I put a huge smile on my face. Okay, I don't care if I've been sick. I don't care if I lost money the day before in business. I put my hands in the air because I go, oh my gosh, I cheated death once more. I get this opportunity to get up. What? And so then I get to my edge of my bed. I sit at the edge of my bed, take a deep breath, and I stand up with purpose because I know a ton of people can't use their legs or get out of bed. And I get that opportunity. And then I take this moment to feel my body all the way down to my fingernails. And I go, holy crap, I got fingernails. I got fingernails. Because some people don't have fingers. And then I go through this process, put my hand over my heart, and I open up to God. And I go through my core values, and I go, this is going to be my last. This could possibly be my last first step that I'll ever get. How am I going to step into this day? And so I take that moment to step with God, to step with myself, and to move into my day with purpose. And that just right there, if we could get so many people to recognize the power of being able to wake up, to be available, to love themselves, to be loved and receive love, how could you be negative? How could you look at all of the poor things that are happening? That's not saying that injustice isn't happening and we shouldn't highlight it. What's saying is that if we're not bringing ourselves as the light to this world, no one's going to be able to see. Because the darkness needs the light doesn't need the darkness. And so we are meant to shine that light. And what negativity is trying to steal that light constantly. So willfully, I will go, oh, that's interesting. You want to be super negative? Okay. I'll just step on to the side.
Miss me with that, right?
That's good. I like it. Duck roll.
Yeah. Just, see you later.
That reminds me of starting the day off with gratitude and just being joyous that you're being, able to get out of bed on your own power. Like, just this is going to be. We do a gratitude. Adam and I do a gratitude segment in the intro before each episode. Mine today for this episode is going to be going to my chiropractor because he just popped a rib back into place for me.
Ooh, that can be very uncomfortable.
Without getting, being in pain. So like another little synchro, yeah.
Oh man. Yes, and you have a rib. You have a rib to go out and to go back in. That's fantastic.
What book has been most influential on your life and why?
The Bible has been such an incredible teacher for me. And in many different facets and ways. I didn't grow up in the church. I found religion myself. Or I should say, God found me. And so my approach to the Bible was much different than how most people look at the Bible. It was looked first and foremost the filter of love. Because that's what I was told. If there was anything that I was told growing up, it was from my mom, and that God is here. God loves you. Right? He loves you, and he accepts you. You are here. And so I went into the Bible with this different vision of, it's not this judgment here, do this, or shall do this or not. It's really coming to the anchor of what the Bible is all about, which is love. It is about God sending down his son, knowing that we're all imperfect and we're all going to fall short. Doesn't matter. Every human, every person. And knowing that and sending down his son to be that love and that light. And I look at the Bible in this light of love. And, the golden rule is to love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and to love others the way you love yourself. And that is where I found a lot of Christians missing the mark. It's like, I don't want your love because I've seen the way that you treat yourself. Constantly sacrificing yourself, constantly doing everything for everyone else. And there is a sacrifice, and the greatest example that was given to us was by Jesus. Yet we also have to recognize that we ourselves can love ourselves. And if we can love ourselves, how much more can we love others? And so the Bible has been the greatest teacher for me. And the second book that actually helped my faith even deeper was Awareness. And I'm blanking on the author's name right now. Let me look this up actually real quick, if you guys don't mind.
Go for it.
Anthony DeMello. So the second book that helped me understand the Bible actually more was Awareness by Anthony DeMello. This book will turn you upside down. And there's not a ton of people don't really know about this book. Have you heard of it? Either of you guys heard of it?
It does. Oh, yep. It was Miguel Connor who gave that as an answer in his episode. It was
Nice.
Anthony DeMello was a Jesuit, wasn't he?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I feel I'd heard of it somewhere.
Oh man, if I could get all religious people, all of them, Christians, Catholic, it doesn't matter, to read this book, your faith will grow. Your faith will be tested, but it will also grow. Because one of the things he says in here that just flips my mind upside down. I could read one page at a time most nights because it was just so much where I was just like, whoa, dude, I gotta put this down. I gotta integrate with this because this thing just blew my freaking mind sideways. But one of the things that he said in there, he said, it's time to wake up. Everything that you do is for yourself. I'm like, what? No, I've raised monies from nonprofits and I've, picked people up in the middle of the night and I'm a life coach. I help people. And he goes, yeah, we do those things because it makes us have a certain feeling. We feel good when we give. If we felt like garbage, if we felt anger, remorse, bitterness when we gave, we wouldn't give. We wouldn't feel good. Yet we do it because we feel good. Talk about a slap across the face, and that for a lot of people, particularly a lot of Christians, when it comes to like, oh, you give. You're human and you're actually doing it because it makes you feel good. Now, people can benefit from that, and it's important to be aware of that. But to come down to the bare, right, core of it, yeah. So that's my answer is those two books.
That is something that hit me hard. The last point you touched on when I was reading Reality Transurfing, actually, because he points out that Vedam, the author, points out that altruism comes from the ego. It doesn't come from the heart. So when we do things like quote unquote out of for the good or whatever, right? Just because it's there is a motive there. It's because it makes us feel good, right?
Yeah. If anyone's listening right now, they're probably like, no. Your initial knee-jerk reaction is like, no, you don't know me. Yeah, I do. I've life coached. I've been in the coaching game for a long time. Guys, listen, it's okay. It's okay to recognize that your giving actually is serving you and to receive that instead of press it away and make it sound like you're doing everything for someone else.
Yeah, it is mind blowing. It was for me anyway. Adam, how does that make you feel?
No,
Like,
I think it's okay for there to be a win-win, and I think it can go back to, like you said, that base ego. I've heard about this in starvation, when, food is scarce and you have smaller groups of people. If I have some food and I share it with you, you survive and we survive as a group, and we only make it if we all make it. And by the same measure, if you have food and I don't have it, you share it with me, and it's beneficial to all. And you see it very, very clearly in smaller groups. So yeah, I mean, it's okay to enjoy it and it to be a selfish ego act, and everybody still benefit. I mean, we're this weird species where, we're made up of all these things in our gut, our bacteria, our organs, different parts of our brain, they all keep scaling up. And, I think as a species, that also happens. We become something greater. So yeah, feeding into each other's egos to a certain degree, when you're following that benefit, I like it.
Yeah.
What rule do you have for yourself that you never break, and why do you think that it's important?
The word never is I don't use that word too often. And so my brain is fighting that right now. Never and always are binary words. So, people will say stuff like, they're never on time. Okay. They tend to be late. Yet there's probably been a time, it might have been on accident, but they showed up on time. Right? The sun always comes up. That's something that we can be like, yeah, that's true, until it doesn't. Then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. Yet, one of the rules that I have found to be so helpful, and I've done for so long now, was make my bed. Make your bed. And even before that, for me now, is put my hands in the air. Yes. It sets the tone. So even before I'm making my bed, I have a yes that I'm getting, that I can celebrate, that I'm here again. I closed my eyes and I wasn't certain if I was going to wake up. And then here I am. I don't know about you, but that seems like a gosh darn miracle. And that's how I'm going to treat it. And then the second one is to stand out of bed with purpose. You only get one opportunity to get out of your bed and then turn around and make that sucker. And I know you asked for one, I gave you three. I'm breaking the rules. I'm a rebel. Deal with it.
No, I like the never and always are binary words. I remember that's something that I heard spoken about in this way in the vocabulary course, which our mutual friend Mark England put together.
Mm-hmm.
That is so tricky to try to catch yourself doing, because I'm guilty of this. We all are, right? And
yeah,
and sometimes it's for me anyway, it's important to remember that sometimes two things, like, or both things can happen. Like two things can exist at once. It doesn't have to be never or binary, like this or that.
Yeah. That it can create so much drama, right? And particularly when we're in like a victim mindset, and we want to point the finger at somebody, we'll use never and always quite often. She never understands me. Really? Okay, drama king. Really? Never? She's never understood you. She's never said, yes, I understand. That's an internal issue. That's not her issue. You're trying to project on her. Calm down. Take a breath before you speak and go, often. Sometimes. Those things lighten it so that the mind seeks for different answers. Never always. That mind's going to narrow. We're going to see a brick wall. There's nothing we can do. There's a great wall of China's in front of us. So then people get in fight or flight mode. Everything escalates. When you say sometimes, all of a sudden you realize, oh, there's a door right there. Oh, cool.
Yeah, you're pre-programming your future.
100%. 100%.
In order to do that, you have to give yourself space too. Going back to your previous answer, right? You got to catch yourself.
Oh, I'm loving that you keep bringing up that space, because I'll tell you what, nothing's going to change until you give yourself some space, folks. You want to feel the pressure. Pressure is when we restrict time. That's it, right? 30 seconds, no big deal until I say, Bill, stop breathing. Now, all of a sudden, 30 seconds becomes a real long time.
I can hold 90.
Yeah, exactly. I want you to run down the block, come back, and then hold your breath for 30 seconds.
No, I can't do that.
Yeah. The point is, right, is that all of a sudden, that 30 seconds creates so much pressure. Well, we can do that with our day without opening up space for us to be able to integrate, to see, to breathe, to feel. We're going to be in a state of fight or flight throughout the day, just reacting to things and trying to get to black or white as quickly as we can, instead of giving us space for the gray area, which is where growth actually happens. Yet that's a really uncomfortable space, because then you get these things called feelings that come up. And it's not necessarily the happy ones. It's more the doubt, the fear, the anger. I don't want to feel that. So I'm going to go black or white, fight or flight. Create the space. Now we have the space to feel, to integrate, to be able to make decisions, to breathe, to think, to speak.
Yeah, never and always don't allow. They're very polar, right? They don't allow for space. There's extremes, so there's that spectrum of feeling there.
Totally.
If I were to ask your best friend, what is the one thing they would say you need to work on the most? and why?
What a great question. Self-doubt. Self-doubt. And why? Why is that? The devil or the imposter, whichever one lands with you, loves to use our greatest strengths against us. When we really think about it, the things that you get really insecure about, if you actually say it out loud to your friends or family, they'll look at you like sideways, like you have three heads. Get it all the time. People that I coach. Yeah, I'm not a good mom. Just, they won't love me. And they're like mom of the year. You know, like I'm just not fit enough. And you're just like, you look like a Greek god. What are you talking about? And those usually come from some type of story that happened in our past. And for me, I had a tumultuous history with my mom, and really struggled with my relationship with my mother, of being loved and feeling worthy, which created some self-doubt. So then I went the other way, and I'm like, well, I'm going to create as much confidence as possible. Yet if we don't tell that inner child who has the self-doubt that, hey, I'm here, you don't have to worry about mom or dad or uncle or brother or sister or the bully, I got you. That self-doubt can creep up in the strangest, weirdest ways in our life. And so it is something that I work on, and specifically in relationships. Romantic relationships is where that self-doubt really arises, of being able to trust myself, love myself, that what I do is my best, and that I can honor that.
Now, I find it fascinating that you make that connection with, like imposter, because that's something so many people, intuitively feel, that imposter syndrome, that other thing that creeps in that, yeah, just kind of doesn't reflect what others see.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why it's called an imposter, right? Just rolling around. Yet we just let that imposter just take control. And there are times where I go through visualizations, and my favorite time is when I'm driving in the car, right? Because usually when you're driving the car, you just have some time to think, particularly if you're not listening to music. And that's also where the imposter can kind of sneak in. And so then I have this vision of my imposter sitting in the passenger seat. And I wait until there's a stop, right? Stop sign, stop light, any kind of stop. And I just look over, literally, at the seat, and I go, you can go now. And I create this visual image of this imposter going, oh, damn it, you caught me. And like, somebody who just doesn't want to get out of your car. They're just like, really? Maybe you just had like a breakup and you're just like, okay, well, I told you I don't want to date you anymore. So if you can just get out of the car. And then just like slowly open the car door. And then I just watch him just slink off, shoulders rounded, head down. It's caught again. And I just drive off and I go, gotcha. And that visualization helps me to leave the thought of the imposter behind. And I'll tell you what, it's worked a lot of the times.
So what triggers? Can you go over that one more time? What triggers the imagination of the figure behind, beside you? Like just not, you mentioned like listening to songs in the car and like thoughts just pop into your head because of the song playing, and then
totally
control, and then and your exercise.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like that's just like all of a sudden, you have that limiting belief or doubt that comes in. You're driving to work and all of a sudden, right, this little whisper comes in. Psst, I bet you're not going to make enough money today. Psst, I bet you she's going to leave you. Psst, you're just going to have anxiety for the rest of your life. And then what do? Whoa, fight or flight. And if we repeat, repetition is the mother of all skills. If we repeat it and we repeat it, it just gets bigger, bigger, bigger. And so that's my cut point. I feel it growing. It's not getting shake. Pause. I see you, imposter. You are not welcomed here. Leave. Pattern interruption. My mind goes boom. Oh, cool. Hand over heart. Take a deep breath. I receive you, Joel. I love you, Joel. Steady as your walk. Continue forward. Move on with the day.
I appreciate how gently you let your imposter down. When I do this exercise, I'm much more angry and aggressive, and I call it, it's not, I don't really see it as an imposter. I see it as an angel of iniquity, and I'm telling you, fuck out, right? So a little bit more edgy, but I love how you even take a moment afterwards to give thanks, which I don't do, which I should probably start doing. So I appreciate that you're very gentle with yourself.
Yeah, well, it's my number one core value. Love. Love for myself, love for God, love for everyone. And how, again, can I have the golden rule if I'm not telling myself, man, I love you, Joel. I'm proud of you. You found that moment, you saw it, and you allowed your imposter to leave, right? It's not like it, and I literally wait for it to stop. It's not like I'm going like 75 down the freeway and I just imagine like the door open and like kicking them out, because that's not true to my values. Because then guess what the imposter would say, right? See, you really don't love people the way you treated me. He's going to come around some back end way. No, I'm going to treat my imposter with love.
I love it. Yeah, I'm going to have to start doing that myself, I think.
Yeah, give it a shot. See how it feels.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Play. Hands down. Play, play, play. You want to get creative? Man, get a tennis. I constantly have a Frisbee and a tennis ball in my car at all times. Just in case. Just in case. Because isn't it interesting, guys? What did you do? But Bill, when it was, when you were younger and you wanted to hang out with your friends, what'd you do?
Basketball.
Yeah. And you would go over to their house and knock on the door and ask what?
Can you come out and play?
That's it. That's it. That's it. At what point did we lose that to be able to ask our friends at 37 years old, hey, do you want to come play with me? No, it has to be a hobby now, right? Yeah, I could mountain bike 5:25 on Wednesday at this time. And I understand schedules and so on and so forth. But I make it a purpose to ask my friends to play. Hey, you want to come play? And if you don't know me and you're an adult, a lot of times you're like, what the hell did you say to me? Who the hell are you? My friends now will go, hell yeah, I want to play. What are we going to play? And when you get out there and you allow play to happen, the mind gets set free. So now the inner subconscious has the ability to go, and that's when you'll be sitting there all of a sudden, boom, that idea can come into your mind. When we were younger, the idea would be, ooh, let's go create that fort or some other imaginary like thing that you could go do. But now as adults, That creativity could be towards your relationship. That creativity could be towards your kids, to your business, to yourself. So play is for sure my greatest way to express joy and to open myself up to creativity, connection, peace, love, all of it.
Oh, it's also a great way to relieve a lot of the pressure or stress of life, of just gamification of, in so many ways. You know, Duncan Trussell talked about this idea that, you know, you can think of, you know, this idea that the universe is against you and that, you know, it's conspiring against you, or you can think that the universe is conspiring for you and that there's secret hidden weapons drops, you know, doors are going to be locked. You'll have to find ways around and secrets. And so once you start just reframing and gamifying things, you know, cat and mouse type of, it is a game. I don't know. Life becomes less serious, but still is important.
Yes. Who told us to take life so seriously?
You know, and we can't not. If you just look at what humans do, like the stock market and so many things, they're just giant games.
That's right. That is, oh my gosh, I love that.
It speaks to the whole simulation assumption or simulation theory, assumptionism thing about the nature of the universe and whatnot, like how virtual reality and the gamification. Like we even try to hint at that. Something new I've been doing with the show is adding sound drops of it is Mario Kart Super Mario. Adam, what is it? A Nintendo 64.
Yes.
Mario Brothers Course Select. You know, so it's so these video game drops different kind of, you know, more creative things to add continuity to the show and whatnot. But the point is they're drawing from video games, and the point is to get people to thinking of life is a video game. We are, you know, this is a psyop. Everybody likes to talk about conspiracies and psyops and how everything's
just a fractal. You know, things tend to reflect on things. Why? I mean, we exist in a world that just reflects back aspects of itself. So yeah. Of course, it's going to show up in everything.
It's all there. It's all there. And there's a great book called "Play It Away" by Charlie Hoehn, and he worked with what's his name? The 4-Hour Workday. Tim Ferriss. So he worked for Tim Ferriss, and he ended up working so hard, so much, alcohol, caffeine, all of it. They got into a chronic state of anxiety, like mind racing, can't sleep, crushing pain on his chest. And he did. He ended up quitting his job. He ended up doing all these things to try to relieve this anxiety from everything, right? From language to cold therapy, hot therapy, acupuncture, massage therapist, breath work. They would all bring slight relief. And then he started playing. And it changed everything, released everything. And so it's a great book for anybody who is a super hard charger. Like, you want to release some steam. Always have a ball, frisbee, a glove in your car at all times. And then go, hey, let's go play. You'll feel 10,000 times better. Guaranteed.
What was the most embarrassing or humbling experience of your life?
There's two. Because you say embarrassing, you say humble, right? And so I basically have two stories there. I'll let you guys choose. Which one, the humble or the embarrassing story?
I'm always down for humble.
Okay. So my humbling story came in 2014. I had been in a state of anxiety, depression, running from my past, my self-doubt, my wounds as a child. And I was in a relationship from 2 to 3 years before that where I just drank a lot, which just added my anxiety. And then I stopped drinking and I started businesses. Oh, I found a new addiction. It wasn't alcohol. It was doing business. So I started an events company to put on CrossFit competitions. Nobody was doing it at the time. So we bought $40,000 worth of Rogue equipment, and we would take it to gyms that were too small to put on competitions so they could have bigger competitions. And then we also put on our own competitions. And the reason I tell you about that is because in 2014, I met Derek and Jacob Wellock, who are the owners of Double Edge Fitness here in Reno, Nevada. And they asked me to become their marketing director and general manager of the gym. And at the time, I was having a little fallout with my current partners. And we were doing this huge, incredible thing. I just saw that the numbers weren't going to make sense. So I said to them, hey guys, I'm out. No big deal. We can leave on good terms. I'll help finish this out, but I'm out. And going in and starting with Double Edge, there was a lot of us. It was $1 million, multi-million-dollar facility. And we had 300 plus members, all this stuff going on. And at the time, I was running from my past and crushing anyone in my way. Anyone. If you weren't smart enough, get out of my way. If you can't figure this out, I don't have time to tell you. This is how I was treating the people around me, particularly the ones that were closest to me. Girlfriend, coworkers, even my bosses. I know how good I am. I've already done this before. Get out of my way. And I remember a specific point where somebody marketing something called. And I said, no, we're not interested in that. And she said, well, thank you and God bless. I remember hanging the phone and having a visceral response. Don't you push your religion on me. Isn't this interesting? I just got done telling you guys how, right, the Bible is my number one book, Christian, all that great stuff. Don't you push that religion on me. Just viscerally mad because I was in fight or flight. Anything that came a threat, I was either going to run from it or I was going to fight it. I don't have time for this to feel those emotions. So no, it's your fault. I was sitting there in the office. We had a staff of about 12 and everybody's out in the gym. They're working out. I hear the music. I hear laughter, fun. And here I am, dark cloud over my head. Look at all these immature. They don't know anything about business. They're out having fun. Again, coming from the guy that just talked about play, how important play is. And I remember getting back to work and I'm hammering away. And it was like a lightning bolt came and hit me in the heart. And God said to me, this is not your way. This is not your way. And it stopped me dead in my tracks. And it was almost like, is there somebody else in here? No, I still hear everybody out there. And I remember sitting there. I stopped. I leaned back in my chair. I took a breath. I grabbed my laptop and I closed it. I immediately got up. And the first person, I'm walking out the door, first person I run into is the younger brother of the two brothers. And I pull him in to the office and I said, I'm sorry. Sorry for the way that I've treated you, the words that I've said, the actions that I've taken. what I said behind your back and what I said to your face. I'm asking for your forgiveness because I'm going to bury that old Joel. And there's only going to be a new one from this point forward. And the younger brother, much more gracious and kind, fully received it. And then for the next 2 weeks, I took out every single staff member to lunch, for a walk, a drink, dinner, lunch, breakfast, didn't matter. And I came as humble as I possibly could and said, no longer will you see that Joel any longer. No more. And that was the moment in which my heart was changed to live with the core value of love. From this point forward will only be love. My actions, my steps, my words will be in love. And I will build bridges to the hearts of my enemies. And I will use it as a shield. And I will repulse bitterness and anger. I will move forward in love. And that was a very humbling moment to be the general manager, the guy that was getting all the things done, to realize, wow, you're being a big old dick.
And that's only, you made a decision to correct that action, and to me that speaks to sort of an initiation of sorts, right? Because that's a decision that you made to leave something, let something die, and then you're going to live in this new sort of this new way, right? So yeah, and only you can make that. Only you can do that for yourself. So I mean that's
Mm-hmm.
awesome, right? That was your higher self coming through and flicking you in.
Dude, lightning bolt.
Awesome.
No, it's yeah, I love it. Beautiful story, my friend. Glad we went humble on that one.
Yeah. The other one. Me too. I'm glad we went humble on that one too.
What is your greatest fear? How do you overcome it?
My greatest fear is losing my joy. I've worked so hard to go from that man that I was telling you about. It's not like I was this super wicked, like terrible kid, in high school. I got, voted by my class the most friendliest. Yet there was a process to get to the point of putting my hands in the air, of showing myself love, getting to this point where I truly love my days. I'm, just to let you guys know, and anyone who's listening, I'm the richest man in this world. And nobody knows it. Well, now everybody here on this podcast does. And I feel that every single day. I pay myself very little. And I love my life. In the fear of anxiety or the imposter or the devil coming in and grabbing hold of that with those doubts is terrifying. And specifically in relationships, because I've struggled in romantic relationships. And so to overcome that fear is the repetition of speaking to who I want to be, who I am, giving myself space and grace, showing myself love, romancing myself. I tell people all the time, man, I'm really good at romancing myself. Be able to light some candles, pour myself nice hot tea, cuddle down into my couch, read a great book, do some breath work. Man, really teaching myself how to love me. I would say that it is a lifelong process because, as I said, repetition is the mother of all skill. Knowing that if I continue to repeat BDE, best day ever, every day, and I mean it, and I walk it, and I talk it, and I absolutely guard my time and days to be able to have that, then I know that I can stay in this space and place of incredible joy and incredible wealth.
Was there anything you used to kind of like any mental tricks aside than what we talked about to kind of, because it seems like you've revalued the world. I mean, treasure to you is not what everybody else sees.
Yeah. One of the best like pattern interruptions for me is opportunity. I get the opportunity to feel sadness. I get the opportunity, and I give this as an example because it really like, you're like, oh, I get the opportunity to step in to dog poop with my bare feet and feel the warm poop between my toes. People are like, what? That's disgusting. Yeah, because there's other people who don't have feet, who can't walk, who don't have toes, who, hey, at least I have a property in which I have grass, in which even if it's somebody else's dog, that I can step into. And so using that reframe of, I get this opportunity. This is an opportunity gifted to me to feel heartbreak or sorrow. Then all of a sudden I take those feelings that people are like, oh, I don't want that. And I bring them close to me so that I get to know their names. And when I know fear's name and doubt's name and uncertainty's name, then I can recognize that they're all part of me as well. And just like my imposter, I can love them too. Yet it starts with that mental reframe. I get this opportunity, which takes practice, folks. It's not like the very first time something bad happened, I was like, yes, this is amazing. I get this opportunity. Yet that is one of my go-to mental tricks.
I love it because what I take out of that is, I mean, true fear for me and a lot of people, it's basis of just the unknown. And you're kind of reframing that there. You know, you're taking that unknown away and you're defining these other usable values. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's beautifully said.
What is your single greatest driving force in life? And how do you further it?
Love. Every single day, love. Love is our greatest weapon. Above all other things, love will overcome. Look at all religions, at everything. Love is our greatest tool. And learning how to love each part of your day, each person of your day, being the light and love for yourself, then you can be the light and love for others. Because that makes it so much easier to dodge negativity, to dodge anger. When you are secure with the love that you have, you're no longer seeking external to internal, but you are being the light. And when people are in the darkness, they want to see the light. It gives them a way. And the brightest light that any of us can shine is that of love.
I love that you said that you to be the light yourself, and that speaks to me. That made me think of the phrase empowerment comes from within. I can't remember where I heard it or if it was on the show or not, but it speaks to, being the change you want to see. And I know it sounds so cliche, but in order to, radiate light to other people, you have to do the inner work and be the light first, right?
Yeah, you have to learn how to love yourself. Man, if you don't know how to love yourself, romance yourself, take care of yourself, then guess where you're going to seek? You're going to seek outwardly. You're going to want the promotion. You're going to want your wife or your husband to tell how great of a job you did. You're going to want your kids to say, Daddy, I love you. But if you love you, if you bring that love and compassion to yourself, it is so much easier to love others because you won't get caught up in the external. We won't get caught up in the way that they're feeling or their doubts or their insecurities. We can just be there in love because we've loved ourselves first. And giving that ability to love us, then we can go out and be the light for others.
Yeah, it also reminds me of Paul Enslaved, a past guest, had broken down a word on one of his live streams. It might have been on our show. I can't remember. Anyway, the point is unlovable, right? Whenever we judge somebody or make a preconceived value judgment about anything really, and it's negative, that means that everything is a mirror, right? So reflect that and turn it right back on yourself. And at this point, we can say that we are unlovable. We are not able to love, and we're not ourselves because we're not loving that, that thing. Everything's a reflection in holographic nature, the universe and everything that becomes very important. So it reminds me of how he broke down that word, the not able to love, if that makes you unlovable, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Word magic.
Absolutely. That word magic.
Who were or are your role models and why?
There have been some incredible people in my life. Incredible coaches, incredible teachers, incredible friends, incredible family members. Yet my brother, who isn't my biological brother, he's my best friend, in which at a young age we connected over a pool table, has been such a light for me, a reflection in with such kindness and love. He has been somebody who has given and who has kept me upright when I felt unsteady. And I seek and still do seek for role models. Yet I don't find them too often. I find people who I appreciate. I definitely find people who I admire. Yet that role model, the person who plays a role in my life, currently is my brother, and past was my grandfather, who interestingly enough wasn't my blood grandfather either. And so the past was my grandfather, who wasn't my blood, and my current is my brother, who isn't my blood, which has helped me to completely reframe my mind when it comes to love. I'm pigeonholed into, you gotta love your family. Love is family. Love is the family that you surround yourself with. And that is something that certainly has been a force in my life, for sure.
Yeah, I've never heard that framed that way before. That's perfect, that love is family. I've always kind of said that, family is who you choose, but really that's an even better description. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
What quality do you most admire in a woman?
Ooh, in a woman. So many good women that have been such incredible examples. And that's so interesting. You're speaking of that today because there are very few women who I use the word queen. Right? There's a lot of princesses rolling around. Right? But those queens who are out there, who are steady, who show love for themselves, love for others, those ones are far and few in between. Yet your question is, what is it that characteristics that I really look for in a woman? And at this point in my life, it's that joy. It's that joy that someone else can meet me where I'm at. They don't have to have the same strengths, weaknesses, or any of that. But are you willing to step into this? Are you willing to take off your lenses and put new ones on? Or do you already have those lenses on of pure joy of what life is here, what God has given us, the opportunities that are here? Because at this point in my life, at 37 years old, single, not married, business owner, I'm a good catch. Yet, I love my life. And I don't have fears of being alone the rest of my life. I'll never be alone. Never. And I use never as binary because I will always have me and God. So take it all away. Take everything. Take my business. Take my friends. Take my nieces and nephews. I'm solidified, fully fulfilled. And so the characteristic that I'm definitely looking for in a woman is, do you have that joy? Are you ready to go on this journey? Are you ready to jump on this magic carpet ride? There's going to be some scary times. But if you're willing to jump on this carpet ride, it's going to be one heck of a life.
I like that you keep bringing up joy because that was one of my New Year's resolutions, not this year, but the year prior, was to cultivate joy. And the year before that was to follow the synchros. Look where it's got me so far. But
yes.
Yeah, cultivate this whole concept of joy. How do you differentiate that between, or from happiness, from joy between happiness? Yeah, between happiness.
Yeah, there's a great book out there, The Book of Joy. I definitely suggest people to read. And it's with the Dalai Lama. And, oh gosh, now I'm forgetting his name. Have you guys heard of the book?
I have not, but I know who the Dalai Lama is.
Yeah. And Desmond Tutu, right? And they talk about joy. What is the difference between joy and happiness? And a lot of the things is what we have been talking about. Do you have the ability to restructure things that are difficult? Right? Because happiness is a feeling. I feel happy. Joy is a state of mind, a state of living. Man, that person just has so much joy. Joyful. Happy's here and then it's gone. Yet joy is a state of being able to reframe. I get the opportunity to be able to show gratitude. Yes, I got another day. And then to be able to take that gratitude, that compassion, and give it to others. Love. And so you want the blueprint of love, of joy. Make sure that you see all things as opportunities.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the ability to restructure or reframe, that is the key, isn't it? Like the ability to, we are able to, that speaks to the creative aspect of our being, and that is very important. The I am, right? I am. I can restructure and I can change.
Yeah. Absolutely. And if you guys haven't read the Book of Joy, I mean, you're talking two incredible guides to this world in the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu. And you just see the way they act. I mean, the Dalai Lama got excommunicated from his home, and he looks out with just smiles on his face. Yeah, but look where I'm at now. Look at the opportunity I have now. This is great. What? Can you imagine being ripped from your home and never being able to be returned again? Dalai Lama's like, yeah, look at me now. Yet so many people grasp on to the one event, the injustice. They won't see the opportunity. And they get stuck there. And it's really hard for those people to have joy because they don't see the opportunity to restructure, to have gratitude. And if you don't have those two things, it's really hard to be compassionate and to be able to give your love.
Yeah, and it's not by hiding from things, it's embracing those things. You hear this from people that have lived through horrific periods of time, or soldiers, that the best times were in some of the worst situations. But, that's because the things that truly matter become incredibly apparent. When you're in a war-torn area with no food, and the only way you survive is with the people around you and your family. That's a whole different way of being. And the time and experiences with people become something so much more. Like you said, the play, the soccer, that stuff, it's completely different. So yeah, something about the way we're living in our society has kind of robbed us of that basic human connection.
Oh man, it is one of the reasons I pay myself $3,000 monthly. That's what I live off of. $3,000. You would think, I have people all the time go, oh, Joel, dude, you're killing it. You're so rich. Because I do investments and that kind of stuff too. Oh, you're killing it. Yeah, I am killing it. Killing life. The richest man you know. It's just not in dollar bills. And nor do I care for it to ever be in dollar bills. So that I can feel the shirt that I have and go, oh man, this is my shirt.
Yeah, until it isn't, then you got to work a little harder, right?
Yeah, right. It's so true. It's so true.
What is the most courageous thing you have ever done or seen in your life?
Most courageous thing I've ever done in my life is to sit down with my mother and father with a written letter to talk about the verbal and physical abuse that I had growing up, and to confront my parents in not a way of anger or disappointment, but in a way of love. And that took me looking into myself and facing myself instead of pointing the finger at my mom or my dad and going, nope, it's me. To take that moment to look my mom in the eyes and talk about the deepest, darkest things between our family. And to be a light of love, not anger, not being sour, and saying to my parents, the purpose of this letter is to create a loving and lasting relationship with my mom and dad. And there's a lot of other courageous things I've done in my life, a lot of courageous people, incredibly courageous people I've seen do incredible things. Yet working as a life coach, bringing that up, that's the scariest thing for most people. It's facing mom or facing dad. Being able to bring that younger self, right? That inner child, and say, hey, buddy, little Joel, hold on to my hand. Let me show you. I know you're scared. I know there's some scary things that happen with mom and dad. But watch this. Sit down right next to me. Watch me read this letter. And that moment changed everything. I have a better relationship with my mom and dad than I ever have. Ever.
I appreciate that story because not only did you confront them, which takes courage, but you did it with a purpose, right? You had a solution to your complaint, so to speak, right? So really appreciate the solution aspect of it, and the purpose was to create a continuing relationship, So that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it was my opportunity to be, for me, the love and light that I'm going to be for the world.
Exactly.
It wasn't about my parents.
Yeah, you carry it forward no matter what. It's kind of the the student can become the teacher, but even from seeing things that were done improperly, you can see the right. And I know when I think about my parents and how I was raised, a lot of my negativity can disappear when I just consider, like, well, how old am I now with my way of thinking, and then how old were they then? Like, oh my God, I was a complete idiot then. So I need to cut them a little slack. So
I agree. And I just took a client through that today, of putting them in first person of their dad. When they said, I don't know why he left. And I said, cool, we're going to write this down 3 times. I left because. Answer it in the first person. And that gave her first time the opportunity to step into her dad's shoes, instead of being the victim, or instead of pointing the finger. She stepped into her dad's shoes. And there's a reason that you do 3, at least 3, because the mind is going to have to continue to think, well, what else? What else could it have been? And being able to have that first person view of our parents and people that may have hurt us can help. It brings compassion, empathy, understanding.
It doesn't mean that it's easy though, like, right? Because compassion doesn't mean that it's easy work. Just because it makes everything. It's a healing, right? Healing is can be painful, right? Even though that sounds funny, but
yeah. There's another book. Is it The Mole, the Horse, the Fox? Something along the lines of that. The Boy, the Mole, the Horse, the Fox. Something along the lines of that. And in the book, one of the ones that hit me so hard is, the most courageous thing you can say is help. Help. And I sit there and I go, yeah. Because a lot of times courage is all relative. Some people can run into a burning building. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the most courageous thing. They're like, that's my job. That's what I do. Ask them to confront their, mom or dad. They're shaking in their boots. Yet courage is the ability to say, help, I need help. And if we all could do that, let the ego down and just say, extend a hand. Will you help me? The world would be a lot different.
it reminds me of another buzzword, vulnerability. I don't know if it's a buzzword. We can make it a buzzword if we wanted to.
We just did.
But yeah, I think the book that you were talking, it was the Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Mackay.
Yes.
Just
Incredible book. Easy read. It's beautiful pictures and just little snippets of these beautiful sentences like that. You know, like tears fall for a reason. Short, right to the punch. Yeah, you're right. Tears do fall for a reason.
Question 13. What does it mean to be a man in today's world?
Ooh.
I know.
What do I think, or what does society think?
Well, and that's the thing. It is double entendre.
what do you think?
What does it mean to be a man in today's world? A man or a man?
Woof. This is the heaviest question for sure of all 13 questions. Because I've gone on many journeys to figure out what is it to be a man. My dad wasn't around. He worked 2 jobs. Yeah, I don't know. You tell me. It wasn't until I started working for my grandfather that he started showing me some of the characteristics of being a man. And it was very much of those, how to take care of a lady. You always get the chair. If you can go pick up the girl, you always do. And I'm saying always. You always do. You take off the jacket. You put the jacket on. And what he showed me in those senses, and some people are like, oh, that's so old fashioned or so on and so forth. Always get the door. What he showed me is a way of love. A love and honor to a woman. Which is very backwards in this day of how we honor women, what we do to be able to show honor or love, what love is. And what I have found from coaching so many people, going through so many different things in my own journey, is to be a man is to be able to love yourself, to accept yourself, to be able to wrap yourself up in your arms. And if there's some guys listening right now, they'll be like, man, that's some weird stuff. I'm talking about loving myself. No, I don't show emotions. Yet if you can't love yourself and you think you can't show emotions, you're just going to express it in some other way. Porn, alcohol, drug addiction, anger, fighting, cheating. Because somebody who loves themselves deeply, compassionately, we're all imperfect. So I'm not saying even somebody who does love themselves isn't going to slip up. Yet I am saying that without the capacity as a man to love yourself and accept yourself, then you're going to, just like anyone else, seek for that external validation through your wife, through your kids, through your job. Got to make $250,000, $500,000, $1 million. Then I'll be enough. What? You're enough right now. Say that to a woman, they're more in touch with their emotions. They can receive that more. But for men, tell them, hey, put your hand over your heart when somebody says something kind and loving to you. I want you to breathe in. I receive that. Thank you. If we could get men to be able to show themselves more grace, more love, they would be able to be the leaders, we're asking them to be, the steadiness that that the women and children really want. It starts with love.
It speaks a lot about, at least to me anyway, to self-care, taking care of our bodies, right? Because our bodies are in our souls, right? That's the three main parts, biggest components. So, yeah, that's to love. If you mentioned some addictions like drinking or pornography and some other things, like for doing these, it's like owning a Ferrari and beating it with a baseball bat once a day, right? So I know that we haven't really talked about it too much in the interview, but I do like one of the things about 13 Questions, getting to know the person on a more deeper personal level, and I think that we've done that today with this, but we haven't really talked about what you do to help people achieve and reach everything that we've talked about thus far. So maybe did you want to let the listeners know about your coaching websites and everything that you offer through that?
Yeah, man, I really appreciate you opening up that space for me. Our business is Proclivity. And what Proclivity is all about is being able to help you create a healthier body and a happier life. And we do that by teaching you the foundational, simple, not always easy habits that will help your body, mind, and heart align. And we also take a psychological approach, because what we recognized is a lot of people's weight gain or issues that are coming up are external manifestations of internal trauma. And until we pluck that false identity out, we're going to end up in the same results, particularly when it comes to our health and wellness. We're going to do something for 30, 60, 90 days, but we're still going to think we're the kid that can't get it done. We're still going to think that I have to put all of my effort into work, because that's how I can prove to my dad that he was wrong when he called me a piece of shit for not catching the baseball. That's a true story. And something like that, repeated over time, will create the results that we're in. And so we help people unwind that through a 12-week program called the Proclivity Method, where we take mind, heart, stomach, we align those suckers in one. We help people to create healthier bodies and happier lives.
It sounds amazing. I think a lot of especially coming out of lockdowns and COVID and whatnot, I know that the uptick in alcohol sales was a big thing, and I'm sure weight gain was probably up there a lot too. So yeah, services like this I think are important to seek out, and I love that you're able to come and spend some time with us and to talk about it and impart some of the wisdom and knowledge that you have gained through your hero's journey on life so far. So thank you for sharing all that you have. And yeah, Adam, did you have any last minute thoughts?
No, it's been a wonderful conversation, and just the most valuable thing you've given us, and it's your time and your attention. So of all the things in the world, we cannot thank you enough for that. It's literally part of your life.
I receive that, you guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be on your show. I jumped at this when I saw it, the questions, and it's what a beautiful show. And both of you guys navigate it incredibly well. So I appreciate both you, Adam and Bill, for this opportunity. It means a lot to me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for I received it.
Yeah, there he is. Nice. Let's go.
I don't wanna hold it. I don't wanna hold it. yo wanna hawene yo wanna hawene yo wa 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 yo wanna hawene yo wanna hawene yo wa.
Why is one man rich and another man poor? Why we ain't satisfied? Why we gotta have more? Why your suicide rates on the rest so high? Why I tell you the truth but you say don't lie? Why is being a good father at an all-time low? Why is it acceptable? Yo, why I don't know. Why she blame him and he blame her? It's useless. Ask yourself this question. Why you making excuses? Why do parents gotta bury their kids? Why we text and drive, not caring how scary it is? Why it's so hard to forgive and leave the past behind? And if you did, then that's divine. Why don't you help your brother when you see him fall? Why do we act like God don't see it all? Why do we call them black, them white, them Asians and use labels? Now that's racism.
Yo wanna hawene
Why?
yo wanna hawene yo wa yo wanna hawene
Why?
yo wanna hawene yo wa yo wanna hawene
Why?
yo wanna hawene yo wa yo wanna hawene
Why?
yo wanna hawene yo
Why is
wa.
there innocent people locked up for life, while some people can't say nothing nice? Why do we always gotta question what all of it means? And why won't you follow your dreams? Tell me why. The night when you took my dad, why'd you let me see my grandpa cry? And tell me why. And why do you choose to hide, even though you was born to fly? And tell me why. And why don't we turn from all the hate? And why don't we learn from all mistakes? Why do I keep on wrecking these fat beats? And teachers don't make more than professional athletes? And why? And why? And why? And why? And why? And why?
Yo wanna hawene
Why?
yo wanna hawene yo wa yo wanna hawene
Why?
yo wanna hawene yo wa yo wanna hawene yo wanna hawene yo wa yo wanna hawene yo wanna hawene yo wa.
This should be considered entertainment and not therapy. We hope you benefit from our resources available at 13questionspodcast.com. Thank you for listening.